Llevábamos tiempo deseando producir algo para Eugenio y comentando que debíamos encontrar un guión lo antes posible que se ajustara a sus necesidades y cualidades.
Basically, it's Rodrigo and Adrián. They came to me saying, "Do you want to read this particular project we're gathering?" And of course, they want to take a look, and we discuss it. And suddenly we said, "Okay, let's go for it." And cut.
Certainly one of the most challenging things I've ever done as an actor, but it was a blast. I mean, I was in a harness. We were jumping around these passerelles. I was, you know, hanging from walkways and jumping onto things.
It's a different kind of film than the kind of hyper-cut modern filmmaking, so it's a little bit of a throwback film, I think.
It's part of the ride, it's part of the journey that movie takes you on. It's full of comedy and it's full of high stakes and high drama and high romance. Everything is high.
That's amazing.
It's in the movie forever! Yeah, that's it. Well, coming from you, we take it as a compliment, you know?
Wow, man.
Yeah. Take your seat. Okay. Like this.
Oh, fuck. We're gonna be spending a lot of time up here.
They thought that I could find interesting this particular script, and I did. It was like, I think that I know why you're calling me. They know that I'm a musician, that I love musicals, that I love adventure movies, and the flavor of the golden age. Well, when I read the script, it was like, is this true?
I thought it'd be fun to do a thriller about that emotion and just make it totally literal. This thing that a musician always has in their mind that the audience is out to get them, I think, just make that what's actually happening, that there actually is someone in the audience with a gun pointed at you, and if you screw up, it is your head.
And I loved the script. It was kind of unlike anything I'd ever read before. It's, you know, a majority of the film takes place during this performance in real time. So that in and of itself was very exciting. And it reads so well, and it read incredible. I mean, it moves so quickly, and every second there's something happening.
Get back on stage.
Who is this? I think more about like if it's an interesting character to play, if the script's interesting, if the director seems like he's got an interesting vision, if I like the other actors.
Recover your balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, and he's like.
They told me about the filmmaker, and I was a great fan of Elijah Wood. I think he's a terrific actor, so I thought it was a very cool, small role to come in and do.
Give me like, stop sharing your stuff, and then he's like, what am I doing? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And okay.
Yep, freeze and then pull him in, because he's,
Exactly.
it's vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Exposed.
He sees me. Tom Selznick is a piano prodigy, a genius who had played a piece on stage that he kind of fell apart.
Are you nervous about choking again?
Choking? It was a massive fail as a piano player with this very complicated piece called La Cinquette. And from that moment on, he stopped playing piano live, and he developed stage fright. So we find the character in this moment where he's heading to perform again for the first time in 5 years with great trepidation. It's the last thing that he wants to do. And his wife, Emma, has arranged this whole thing for him.
Emma is an actress, and she is sort of in a moment of transition. She's about to have kind of a revolution in her career.
Would you mind if we take a picture?
She sets up this evening for her husband, Tom, so that he can kind of come back to the stage and have maybe a similar moment in his career of kind of resurgence and kind of coming back to the public.
Action!
He's a mercenary, you know, and mercenaries do it for the money.
Here are the rules. I can see and hear everything you do. Call for help, and I will hear it. Leave the stage, and I will see it.
And so my relationship with him is almost through the airwaves. It's almost like I'm a voice in his head.
Exactly.
Something like that?
Yeah, the thing is that when you take it with...
I don't want to say too much because people see the movie, but It's in a tradition of kind of thrillers, this kind of character.
Norman Reisinger is a conductor of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. And he's an old friend of Tom Selznick.
Sure. Because doesn't it seem like we're trying to do a lot here?
Yeah. Is helping to bring him back to the stage after 5 years.
It's the great Tom Selznick.
Hey, Norman.
Hey.
At the beginning, Norman, my character, doesn't really understand how deeply damaged Tom is. Then he finds out, and it's a moment where, as a friend, he has to comfort him and nurture him. And as his conductor, he has to say, now get up on stage and do it. And that's a really interesting relationship.
I've never in my life met another human being so perfectly shaped for one purpose. Do what you do.
La música es un trabajo ejemplar de colaboración, como no podía ser de otra manera, entre Víctor Reyes, un compositor muy reconocido que poco tiene que demostrar a estas alturas, y Eugenio Mira, un director que también es músico y que ha sido el compositor de sus películas previas, de hecho.
Estamos en un concierto que se supone que es un concierto de un compositor, que el argumento está contando eso, entonces ha sido muy complicado encajar todo eso, encajar lo que quería hacer el guionista, lo que quiere hacer Eugenio, que es el director en última instancia, y lo que puedo yo aportar, ¿no? Eso es. Y todo ese encaje ha sido pues en esas tres piezas, en lo que teníamos que hacer antes del rodaje, en lo que hemos hecho en el rodaje y lo que hemos hecho ahora, después en postproducción, ¿no?
Esta película no puede componerse a posteriori, ya que constantemente vemos a los actores desarrollando y ejecutando esa música con movimientos muy específicos y concretos. Eso significa que previamente hay que componer una pieza con un peso aparentemente concertístico y sinfónico que a la vez se ajuste narrativamente como un guante a las necesidades del guión.
El guión dice en la página 17 que el Aya, el personaje, ve una amenaza en la partitura o que oye una amenaza por el pinganillo. Y nosotros tenemos que darle una forma musical a esa secuencia.
Es en el fondo todo lo contrario a la lógica habitual cinematográfica, y sin embargo no había otra manera de hacerlo. Por eso hacía falta un director con un conocimiento sobre la música muy preciso y concreto y un compositor capaz de interpretar de forma fidedigna esas instrucciones y llevarlo a un nivel musical superior.
Lights. You know.
There's a few things all happening at once. There's a PA, which is playing mainly for the musicians. So when the musicians are hearing the PA and they're playing along with the PA. But then there's also music for the earpiece that I wear, as well as dialogue.
Don't go straight to you.
Yeah.
And you have the PA like
Low.
Low.
Low enough that I can just...
And with a click.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
I think that's gonna work.
That'll be fine.
Let's try that.
That'll be great. Thanks, guys.
When we were shooting, of course, we needed to trigger the music that was the reference for Elijah and the musicians. But that wasn't everything. I mean, there was more things to trigger. The cues for the camera, when there was the perfect timing, the right moment to the camera to pan to a place, to make sure that that was gonna be working then once we put all the pieces of the puzzle in post-production. And it was like 3, 2, 1, go. And the camera started to move, and then it went to this place, and it was like 3, 2, 1, and stop.
Thank you so much.
Wow,
Thank you.
this is how we do it.
Realmente la única fórmula para hacerla factible era cargar todas las cintas en el trabajo digital. Realmente no podíamos crear una película tan compleja en una localización de verdad, aunque habíamos tenido la ópera de Chicago o el Liceo o un teatro cerrado durante 3 meses. nunca se podía haber hecho la visión de Eugenio, entonces hablamos con Alex y buscamos la fórmula de desarrollar un sistema de trabajo.
¿Cómo lo hacemos? Pues bueno, construimos una parte real y el resto en digital. Tenemos una parte que hemos construido en un plató realmente grande, un decorado muy grande, pero el resto no, el resto tenemos una pantalla azul gigante y allí hay un teatro que tenemos que hacer en 3D. Y lo que os vamos es a rodar desde varios puntos de vista para poneros de fondo, duplicaros y saldréis unas cuantas veces de fondo que no os distinguiréis. Teníamos 200 extras reales, 250, pero el teatro que nosotros vamos a crear son unas 3.500 localidades. O sea, estamos creando un teatro enteramente digital, llenándolo de gente, pero en ningún momento en la película siempre tienes que tener la ilusión que eso es real.
She is a very brash, quite obnoxious young woman. I would say she was quite irritating, and I think that's a good thing for the audience to find her.
Guys, I thought I lost you. I'm sorry, honey. We were at the bar. It was happy hour. Yeah, well, I called you 6 times. Oh my God. Wayne, where's my phone?
Yeah, it's right here.
She loves to manipulate her boyfriend, played by the lovely Leech.
Wayne is very much kind of the dog's body for the character of Ashley. He's the boyfriend, but he's more like a pet rather than a boyfriend. He follows her around, and that's been really fun to play, you know, the idea of this guy is really downtrodden. But he's a very earnest guy, you know, he means well, and he always tries to please.
He's fine here, and you're complaining, is like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. But obviously, you're not there. No. It's just the one like, I should be there.
She can play a good bitch. She really can.
The script as itself is an incredible journey. For any reader, they seem to have this incredibly vivid experience of, oh my God, I couldn't stop reading. I wanted to know what was going to happen at the end. To me, I was more seduced about the possibility of spending more energy on the story, the atmosphere, and the characters. So you keep walking and you turn and you see that he's like watching the piano for the first time through the monitors.
And I've never seen this many people this excited. They have waited 5 years for this.
Okay, one thing. It would be great if when you're talking this, all this part.
It made everyone's job so much easier. It made my job easier. And it's a hell of a lot of work, and it's, you know, a real credit to his talent and his ability and his vision.
Lovely guy, very professional, runs a great set. I've had a great time. People are really nice. He knows what he wants and shoots very fast, and it's a very good atmosphere here. I've enjoyed it.
That's his cue to stand up and go backwards, you know?
Okay. The amount of work that he put into this, months and months in advance, from the construction of where the score sits within the animatic and devising the plan for the animatic.
To the southwest?
Right. Is extraordinary.
You step out of the frame.
I don't know if I like that. No? Nah. Maybe.
All I have is great words towards him. He really showed how professional he is and how seriously he takes his job. And he always asks you, do you need anything else? Or do you think that we could do this in a different way? Or maybe this feels a little bit forced. Do you think it's always incredibly thoughtful of the process?
I'm trying to know what he's going to do first.
Yeah, I need the first time you have this eye-line contact to be is once you're in the bar, you know? Here. Okay. We're getting the European touch. You know? Yeah, totally.
I always get along great with Europeans because they seem to maybe understand me a little more than the Americans. We seem to get each other's ideas very quickly, so if he starts saying something, I go, yeah, I do this. We seem to get a good shorthand very quickly.
Bueno. Well, that's it, I'm gonna go. Guys, this is a wrap for principal photography. It's like you don't have to look at it all the time. It's halfway. You know, it's more, I like the idea that you don't need that anymore, but we have to see it. I mean, that you're looking at it, and then when you're really into it, you don't look at it anymore.
That's the idea.
It's not like you have to do different things at the same time, simultaneously. You have to keep in mind that he was listening to music and he had to follow the music in an earphone. He had to synchronize his hands to what it was, you know, hearing. But at the same time, he had to play the piano. He had to play a guy playing the piano and listening to instructions.
What was that, Tom?
And
What the hell was that?
Acting that we tend to forget, but it's what an actor has to do. So he had to do all these things at the same time.
Are you
and
there?
Above all those things, acting. It's amazing. It's very easy to take for granted that Elijah Wood is a great actor and all that. That we were fascinated day after day. It was mind-blowing to see him nailing it and playing it totally natural, the whole thing, as it was just one thing to do, when actually it was like 7 different things at the same time.
This has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. I'm being totally honest, truly.
Thanks. Incredible job. That's amazing. Shit's awesome.
No está mal. Not bad. Not bad. I hope that the audience gets that despite this movie is a thriller and it has all these vibrations that seems to be so tied to Brian De Palma, Hitchcock's universe.
Gran Piano es una película hitchcockiana que alarga el final del Albert Hall, del hombre que sabía demasiado, durante hora y media, convirtiéndose necesariamente en la película de un director especialmente dotado para el arte secuencial y que no crea en la cobertura arbitraria de planos, sino en el cine, con un sentido profundo del amor por la narrativa.
I think that movies nowadays are more defined to be unanimous. You talk about the movie you've seen, that what it comes out of the mouth of the guy who went to see the movie. Here and there, it's exactly the same thing. And I think the Grand Piano is very open to interpretation. You can play with the information in your head in multiple ways.
Don't disappoint me, Tom.
And I'm very proud of that.
I won't disappoint my audience.